Welcome to Emotionally Evicted. We're your hosts, Mandy and Tami, sisters, survivors, and women who are reclaiming our lives one unapologetic story at a time. We're not therapists, just two women who've been through it, healed it, and aren't afraid to talk about it. This show is our eviction notice to chaos, codependency, and generational dysfunction, and your permission slip to reclaim peace, power, and your damn self.
This podcast is brought to you by Illumina Ops Solutions. We specialize in streamlining your systems, scaling your business, and getting you the hell out of the weeds. Because growth shouldn't feel this hard, and we've got the solutions you never saw coming. Visit illuminaops.com to start reclaiming your brilliance.
Hi, welcome back to Emotionally Evicted. Today's podcast, we're going to talk about the roles we learned to play, diving even deeper into our origin story. And so, as we talk about these roles, it's not like a blaming or like reliving trauma sort of talk. I would say it's more about just discussing these roles and how they felt or still feel sometimes like personality traits, but I mean, they were actually just survival strategies, really.
Yeah,
I mean, wouldn't you agree?
100%. Like, you don't think about it at the time because you're just in it and trying to get through. But definitely looking back now, it, I mean, you can't help but carry that over into your adult life and the different situations and relationships that you have. I mean, it just affects everything because your childhood is setting the groundwork for your adult life. And we
Right.
played these roles for so long. And, it just was what it was. Like, we just had to take that on. And I think we're just now realizing that that is not normal. We shouldn't have had to take that on. And that explains a lot of why we are the way we are now. So,
Oh yeah, 100%. I definitely agree that thanks to our dysfunctional home, we were assigned these roles essentially.
yeah,
So
I would say, yeah, they weren't like we just woke up and were like, well, I'll just be, super responsible or make sure everything's taken care of because I want to. It was just like, I have to get through the day
oh
for
yeah.
one, and just to make it like to feel safe. And like I noticed like in myself, I don't want to say like I want to control everything, but definitely like taking on the role of making sure things are taken care of to make sure everything's safe, everything's good. Um Definitely is like a controlling, like I have to feel that security.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I
And
recognize that in myself too. It's hard for me to let go sometimes because I feel like as kids, I mean, we had each other, but like the adults in our the main day-to-day adults will say, it was like they couldn't manage the day-to-day, which is why we did. And now I'm like, I feel like sometimes I can't delegate other things to another adult because I'm like, but are you going to be able to handle it? Because I'm not
I
sure
would
if you can handle it.
right. I would say it's not that I don't want to delegate. Like, I would absolutely love to have someone come in and be like, I got this. Go sit
This is true.
down. Don't worry
Yes.
about it. I got it. But I can't trust any motherfuckers because nobody has shown me that they can hold it down. And that's my problem. Like, I don't know if it's a trust issue or just like, no, I don't think that's it because I feel like I've tried to give people leeway to show me that they can handle it, and there's not been one single person. I'm talking about relationships men who have come along and shown me that they got it, and I'm not gonna have to come back behind them to sweep up the mess.
Right.
Yeah. So, I just had that revelation. But
Oh, should we dive
so,
into the various roles that we've identified?
yes. I th
Peacemaker.
definitely me just trying to keep everything calm in the house, trying to it was almost like parenting toddlers. Like, you're just trying to keep them calm and satisfied so that everything else in the house doesn't, like, turn into chaos.
Right.
So,
I think we should clarify. It's not like our dad was like a violent person or anything.
no.
It's not that kind of like needing to keep peace. It's truly like just herding cats, toddlers, however you want to
Yeah.
phrase it. Like just trying to keep them in line so that things are smoother.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely was more and I still am more agreeable, and that's something I'm working on, the people pleasing. You
Mm,
know, just, yeah, okay, because with toddlers, like, you're just like, "Yeah, okay, whatever you want. I will give you the moon, the stars, and everything if you will just go to sleep."
right.
That's kinda, just being very agreeable as I was growing up, predictable for sure, and I think that was more for my own safety and security. Anything that I could keep predictable was my safety because there was so much unpredictability and everything else going on around us.
Right.
So that is definitely like a trait I've carried on with me is like keeping anything that I can keep predictable. Um, I'm very much like I don't like change, and that's probably from a lot of different things that have happened over our childhood. I don't like change. I stay with things if possible. Like, I've had the same freaking cell phone number since I was 18. My very first cell phone I ever had, I've had the same fucking number. Like, I don't change if I don't have to. Like,
That's so funny because I've changed my number several times and I was just thinking the other day, man, too many people got this number. I'm gonna have to change it so this motherfucker just quit calling.
I'm almost kind of like, now I'm like, I'm going to take this number to the grave with me. Like, I'm just going to go with it. Um, yeah, I just like don't like change. I like things to be predictable because I don't like I don't like the unknown. It scares the shit out of me. Like,
Mm,
and I don't like that because I know, like, I'm going to talk about like astrology for a second. Like, my sign is in this a Sagittarius, and they're very much like about adventure and blah blah blah. And I feel that in myself, but at the same time, it's like, girl, you better sit your ass down.
where are we going? The backyard? All right.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely keeping things on an even keel uh was my thing. Into adulthood, definitely, like I said, being a people pleaser, which entails like over apologizing, wanting to say yes to everything because you don't want to upset the apple cart, which,
Mm.
yeah, definitely trying to work
People
on that
pleasing
because,
just like People pleasing just like spider webs into
oh my
like
God,
so many things.
so many things. So many things. It's exhausting. As far as like relationships, definitely being the one who carries the weight of the emotional labor,
Mm.
basically the weight of fucking everything, if I'm going to be totally honest.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know. Just definitely the people pleasing is a big one for sure.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel like I identify with some of those pieces about being the peacemaker. As far as roles go, feel like I took on like a fixer role, like cleaning up messes, fix it quickly, maybe nothing else will happen. But I also feel like we both were a fixer, but I definitely see myself now in various relationships as a fixer, which is funny because that's what I do for a living is I fix things for people. But like the being responsible for holding everything together, we definitely both like, yeah, do that,
Yeah.
solving problems before anyone asks. Cause I felt like growing up, like who the fuck else is going to do it? It didn't seem like the day-to-day adults in our lives were gonna fix problems, and so I feel like even from a young age, which is part of the reason that we have this podcast, is because we were saying at such a young age, like, we're not gonna grow up like this. This is not the kinda life that we're gonna have. This is not the kinda life that our kids are gonna have. So we were already thinking ahead, solving problems from our childhood so that we didn't have to deal with them in adulthood. That's
Mhm.
where my mind goes.
Yeah. As far as like the fixer role, I feel like as children, we became very intuitive into, well, a lot of things, but people's needs, not only their emotions and like the vibe, but just like what needed to be done. Because I know now I see that in myself. Like you said, always taking care of things before anybody even knows that it needs to be
Right.
taken care of. I am like 100% guilty of that because I've done things like, can't think of anything off the top of my head specifically, but there's been situations where like I'll take care of something or do something and there's another person there and they're like, "How did you even know?" I'm like,
Right?
and I'm almost like, "How did you not know?"
Right? I mean, yeah. Yeah. I think that you definitely became, like, the little parent in the
Mm,
house because you were older and, yeah, there were when we've talked before, you've mentioned some various stories about things that you had to take care of that I have no idea happened, but, there you were parenting or a parent
mhm.
taking care of things.
Yeah. Many a time, our father would come home plastered drunk where he'd be puking in the bathroom and I'd be in there taking care of him, making sure he was staying hydrated, not dying basically. Um, and have school the next day. So, sorry. Yeah, definitely taking that on. Um, like I learned like I've said before, I've learned how to cook at a very young age, and I'm not just talking like mac and cheese or, some bullshit, like full on meals and learning how to take that on, learning how to clean the house properly, do laundry. Yeah, just like taking care of everything and everybody, making sure you were good. Definitely always in tune with dad, making sure he was good. Because I
Right.
think subconsciously, I knew he was not doing that because he was, like, off running wild like a teenager, which it should have been me. Okay, so following, like, into adulthood, I think this fixer parent role definitely has affected a lot of areas, specifically, like, relationships, because I've kinda taken on that role of just, like, mothering.
Yeah.
And even though it's like, I don't know, my fault, but not my fault, I feel like the men I've dated have just kind of like let me do that to the point where I exhaust myself and burn
Mm,
myself out.
yeah, that makes sense.
because I'm like carrying the weight of everything. And that's something now like I'm seeing and trying to like really take a step back of like, okay, they're adults too. They can handle their own shit. I don't need to fix everything and handle everything because, as kids, any little problem, it was like, how can we diffuse? We just got to diffuse the situation.
Yeah.
And so now, like in relationships, if my partner has like a problem or whatever, I want to like step in and fix and diffuse whatever is going on so I can like, not that I'm gonna sound like an asshole. Not because like I like care about them so much and love them so much.
It's a safety thing.
It's a safety thing for myself. Like if I don't handle this, it's going to explode and then my life is going to be 100 times worse. So I got to handle this. But men, because they're selfish assholes, I think take that on as like, oh my God, she loves me so much and wants to handle everything for me. No, I got problems and I don't know how to fucking stop being a mom.
Exactly.
That's
Rescuing
the
people
issue.
who don't rescue themselves. That's yeah,
Yeah, which we talked about before. So it all, like you said, intertwines and
definitely.
overlaps. And yeah, so yeah, definitely taking on all the responsibility in relationships has definitely been a byproduct. Work wise, like over functioning. And this is an area I feel like I've done very well in the last year of not exhausting myself with work and
Yeah.
trying to like prove myself because I'm starting to realize like this shit ain't that deep and it's not changing the world.
Right.
Nobody's going to die if nothing happens. Like it's good. It's fine. So I have done very well the last year working on that, trying to take a step back because there was a point in my career where I was working like I work in tech. For anybody who doesn't know me, I work in tech, software. There was a time where I was working on a project and I worked on it all day during normal working hours because I worked at home at the time until like 3 o'clock the next morning, took a nap for a couple hours, and then got back up so I could like finish it. And looking back now, it's like, it's not like there's like some statue with my name on it that I did all this great work.
You
Like,
didn't get the Presidential Medal of Honor for that?
no,
You didn't
I
get
fucking
some
didn't.
ceremony?
And I honestly like I work in software sale or yeah, software sales support. I know the seller did win that deal and it was like a huge deal that the company won. So I mean it did have some fruits to the labor. But I mean, that was it. Like anybody who knows software sales, like once the deal closes, like you're moving on to the next one and that's the new crisis. So yeah, I have definitely been working on over functioning at work and not burning myself out because there's no point to it.
Exactly.
No. And then, like you said, just rescuing people who won't help themselves. We've been working on that, not trying to step in and when people come to us with their problems, like, well, I got this idea and that idea, how you can fix it. Nah, you're on your own, bro. Because you burn out so easy if you're constantly, I know I talked about over functioning at work, but you really turn into where you're over functioning and fixing everything in all aspects of your life and you burn yourself out and you are drained. And I know I've said this before, you cannot pour from an empty cup because a lot of times as the fixer, you're the one fixing everybody's problems, helping everybody, doing all the things while the majority of the people in your life are not pouring back into you, helping you, fixing your problems, pouring back into you, and you just burn out, and that's not healthy.
Right. That is very true. That is very true. I see the over functioning. I felt like when I worked in corporate, because in my opinion, the corporate environment breeds that over functioning, overachiever mentality. I feel like since I left corporate, I'm a lot better about that because I have my own business. So it's like, I'm more in control of my work and how things go and when they're delivered, but it's definitely something I had to sit with myself and unlearn essentially, but I see how that stemmed from childhood as well.
Yeah,
So,
because you want to be the one getting the gold star. You want to be helpful and useful, and that's I know that's kinda where how do I wanna say this, like, saw my worth or felt my worth as if
mhm.
I was being recognized as, like, a great employee, then that
Yeah.
means I'm a good person, and I can still
Yeah.
be a really good employee without burning myself out and overworking.
Do you know how many employees I've seen get fabulous raises and gold stars and they didn't do a fucking thing all year? Meanwhile, I'm pretty certain I was doing my job and theirs. So,
Right.
y but the self-worth thing, I mean, just that has been huge for me because I see how in our childhood, in my child mindset, it was maybe if I'm really good, maybe if I get really good grades, maybe if I just like behave and I don't get in any trouble, my parent or parents will want to pay attention to me, or I'll be finally good enough that they won't feel the need to drink all the time, or they'll want to be home, or they'll, just all of these things because as a kid, I mean, your frame of mind is just different. You're not as intelligent as we are now. We don't have as much lived experience as we do now. So that's I can clearly see when I was a kid that even though I didn't realize it, that was my thinking. And I've carried
Yeah.
that into adulthood of maybe if I'm just good enough, they'll choose me. And that's where a lot of my worth gets tied to performance versus I'm fucking awesome by myself.
Yeah.
Like, you're missing out if you're not a part of my life. So, and it's just because I'm me and who I am, and there's no performance tied to it. I'm awesome on my own. And that is something that I work on every day. But as a kid, leading into our next role, I was the invisible one because if I was invisible, if I was quiet, if I was, all of those things I listed earlier, then maybe I won't get dragged into drama or, maybe everything will be fine. I myself won't cause any more drama. Y'all, I cannot tell you my deep aversion to drama. It is deep. I can't even watch like reality TV shows that are filled with drama because it just is so cringy. It's so hard for me to watch things. You tell me about watching that Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I can't. It is just too much for me. It just, ugh. It just crawls all over me. It's a deep aversion to drama. I just can't. I can't. And that stems from childhood.
Yeah. I think I watch it because I like the reminder that I'm normal and I got this shit together because these people got problems.
Okay, that I can see. That I can see. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a kid, I like you said, I just kind of was doing my own thing. I mean, I remember, let's see, I probably would have been we lived on Girard Street, fucking Girard Street house. And what was I, like 7th, 8th grade?
Yeah.
And I remember somehow getting connected with this non-denominational church in like the next town over. Somehow got it set up where like the church bus was coming to pick me up and I remember every Wednesday night like I was just off to youth group doing my own thing. I cannot imagine my child. not because he's helpless, but like not running it by me. I don't
Yeah.
even remember having a conversation with our father of like, "Hey, I wanna do this," and him, like, wanting to meet this man that ran the youth group. Beautiful soul, love him. I mean, he wasn't weird or anything, but, like, I was just off. And I don't remember dad, like, ever having a conversation. I don't even know if he knows who it was. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's just I was just off doing my own thing. I mean, trying to stay out of trouble. I mean, that I feel like we were really good kids. We could have just been off the fucking rails. I mean, let's be honest. We
Oh,
had
for
no,
real.
like, hardly any oversight as to what we were doing. And I feel like we could have just been some hellions. And we weren't.
Yeah, 1,000%,
And our
like
dad has said, like, thank you. Because clearly he was dealing with his own things, still is. And so he didn't have like us out there raising hell, causing more grief. But I mean, again, that all ties back to the worth piece.
yeah, you were talking about, like, the self-worth, and this is an area I've been, like, really trying to think, like, where that comes from, because, like, you mentioned not wanting to be the problem or, like, being good so that, dad would choose us or pay attention to us, all those things, which there's, like, a slight moment where I did not feel chosen by him, and this is, like, a very core we'll probably mention this several times, him coming back from rehab and bringing
The
the
devil.
devil home and wanting to spend time with her versus us. So that definitely was a moment where I did not feel chosen. But, like, generally, I don't feel like I like the feeling of, "Oh, I gotta do all these things so that he will choose me and love me." I don't identify with that, but while you were talking, I was, like, really thinking of, "Okay, well, then what is it?"
Mm.
And I started thinking more, like, I really think that it was at such a young age, we were so intuitive into how people looked at us as as a whole family, and we have family members who are very judgmental, and I honestly feel like it's their judgment of our father and how he was that I was like, "I have to be a million times fucking better because I don't want" not I love dad, and he knows this, but I don't wanna be associated like, I don't want them to look at me like they do dad, and I don't want them to look at me and put me in that category. Like, I want them to
Mm.
think that I'm amazing.
Ooh, that's good. That I did not think of it that angle. And for mine, like I knew dad loved me. But now that you're saying that about the judgment piece, a lot of things are coming back about various comments I remember hearing about him still here today. And so I'm going to have to explore that more because I definitely think that's a big piece. I think the piece about me like being good and all that and being chosen, I think it was just more so like I remember, like, when I got really good grades or did good things, like, he would be happy and like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah," and I think I wanted more of that. So it was
Right.
like, if I could just, be super good and I remember him commenting and as we were growing up about, like, us just being, like, well behaved and or like he'd be talking to other people talking about oh my girls are really well behaved or they're really good in school or this and I loved hearing that. I mean praise, words of affirmation is a huge like it's like my top love language.
Mm.
You want to make me feel good, you just tell me how awesome I am. I mean I know that I am, that's why I tell myself that all the time, but words of affirmation, so that's really what it was. But I'm glad that you brought that up about the judgment piece because that's, like, really hitting home for me.
Yeah, like, I feel like that definitely affects a lot of areas because always wanting to be, like, the star, amazing employee,
Mhm.
you know, not that I don't want to inside be a good mom, but being recognized, like, that I'm a good mom is, like, a big one because of our dad. Not that I feel like I'm, like, saying something and then, like, going like, taking steps back. Yeah, working on that. Dad was a good dad in a lot of ways, but obviously, he had his own problems. So, categorically, like, you couldn't generalize him as, like, this star amazing parent.
Right.
It just is what it is. So, being recognized as, like, a mom who really takes care of her kids and, like, they're loved and really, just taken care of is a big one. But just also people just liking me and loving me and yeah, because I feel like there was so much judgment towards our dad, like, I really wanted to disassociate with that and
Yeah,
not
distance
be
ourselves.
yeah, put in that box. And not o I mean, just not only our dad, like, our mom too, honestly. I know we haven't really talked a whole lot about her, but, I mean, I have my own thoughts and feelings on it, but I don't consider especially after having my own kids, like, I don't feel like she was a great mom.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't wanna say, like, gave our dad custody of us or if dad, like, basically kinda forced the hand. I was only 7 when it happened, so I don't know. But nonetheless, like, she did not put forth, like, hardly any effort to be in our lives after that. Um, and when she did, it just was not meaningful or, like, definitely not good memories from any times we were really around her.
Yeah, I only remember the one trip, the one summer. That's all I remember.
Yeah, and I babysat her 3-year-old twins the whole summer
Yeah,
while she worked.
yeah. So,
Yeah. So, definitely having parents that were not the best, and I'm sure were judged. Like, you could just feel people judging,
yeah,
like, anytime we would go anywhere and dad was acting a fool.
still happens. Okay. Still happens. I have some core memories. I can tell my son right now, I could just bring up Papa and Chick-fil-A, and my son loses it because we had to hear him talk to random strangers about the Lord's chicken. And it was very embarrassing. Okay. And he's just, I mean, he wasn't drunk or anything. He was just being himself. He's just a little bit extra. But I definitely agree, like, for like the invisibility piece. And I see myself still do this now. Like, I don't want to say like asking for support now is like a thing, but like as a kid, like I remember there being some things that I was going through, not feeling like I could go to my parent because I'm like, clearly he's dealing with some shit.
Yeah.
So I don't think that he has time to help me with my stuff. So I just became, and I think we both did, became hyper independent, just taking care of our own stuff. And I mean, like we said, we have difficulty trusting others to like meet our needs or like help us in things because we didn't, I mean, we've always had to just figure it out. I
Mhm.
mean, we have got some phenomenal critical thinking skills, folks. I mean, just phenomenal. Because what else were we going to do? We had no other option than to figure it out because nobody was coming to save us but ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, enough said. Like, we just became so hyper independent and responsible because, yeah, if we
What the
didn't
fuck
do
else are
it,
we
it
gonna
wasn't
do?
gonna
Yeah.
happen, you know? And
Yeah.
there was no time, like you said, like asking for help now and like working through things. Now we're doing all that. But as kids, I mean, there was, I mean, it just was what it was. Like, we just had to take it on. We couldn't sit and cry about it.
Right. And looking back, I mean, that's why we say, like, for us, all of, if we try to think of like specific stories or things or instances, it's like it was just normal life. I mean, we look back now, they say hindsight's 2020, and it absolutely is. I mean, we look back now and go, yeah, that was messed up.
Mhm.
But in the moment, we didn't realize it was just another Tuesday for us.
Yeah. Like, cooking meals, taking care of the house, laundry, which I know, like, I keep harping on those, which I know a lot of kids are just, like, super responsible and kinda have their chores that they have to do. This was like, if it we did not do it, we would have no clothes to wear. Like,
Exactly.
like, I have made my kids do their own laundry and take care of stuff, but I'm also there as a safety net. Like,
Right.
So I just kinda, like, wanna give that context to all that. Like,
Right. Like my son knows, like he's asked me a couple times, like, hey, mom, like, I'm really busy. I got, work and stuff. Would you mind, switching my laundry over or, throw in the stuff in the wash and I'll switch it later? There was nobody to ask to do that. I mean, we could have asked each other, of course, but like
yeah.
other than each other, I mean, imagine had we, just been only children. My God.
Yeah.
There's no telling how we would have turned out. So,
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting thought because I feel like a lot of my, like, keeping shit together, being responsible and making sure everything was, like, handled was for you, and because of you, I almost wonder, like, if I didn't have that, if I would have been more of a hellion because I wouldn't have had to worry about anybody else but myself. I don't know,
yeah.
but we're not gonna think about that because that's not the situation we're in.
Instead, we both just became hyper responsible people because, like we said, if we didn't take care of it, no one else will. If we weren't cooking ourselves dinner, we were not eating.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember, I feel like most nights it was just us eating dinner together. I feel like dad got off work and just went to the bar and was drinking. I feel like most nights he wasn't there around dinner time.
Like, there's different time periods where I feel like when we lived in Arkansas, you remember that old farmhouse that had the wood burning stove? Like, that was
Oh,
our
yeah.
like, we had a wood burning stove that you had to put wood in, which we would do sometimes, or I did. I don't know if you ever had to.
On
But
occasion.
I do remember him cooking some meals and kinda being more around, but we were also, I mean, I don't think he was, like, really drinking, doing any kinda drugs at that time, but then, like, you go to, like, a few years later when we moved to Texas and we were living in that apartment, like, I don't remember him ever being there,
Right.
like, ever.
I remember would we live there like a year? And I'm pretty certain like he never unpacked his room
Yeah.
because he wasn't there.
Yeah, and we stayed there, like, the last 2 months by ourselves to finish school because he moved back to Arkansas. I'm not 100% sure what the situation was, but I think he was in trouble. Dad will have to correct me. I think there was some problems with some members of the cartel that he got involved with because dad was heavily doing cocaine at that time.
Yes.
And he took his ass back to Arkansas and we stayed to finish school and then went back. So there's a fun little story for our listeners.
Okay, well, just to clue everybody in, I did not know. I did not realize that he left us there for like 2 months and went back to Arkansas.
Yeah.
You must have just either I
Well,
blocked it out or you shielded me from it.
I think because he was just never there. It was just not,
It was normal for me.
yeah, it was just like a normal thing. So, which we had our grandmother that didn't live very far
That's
from
true.
us.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, I'm thinking like, who was I don't remember like who was like taking care of things then. I think a lot of that I blocked out of my brain just because it's just sad, really.
That was a very sad time. A
That
lot of negative energy.
Oh, yeah. Like, you could walk it like, looking back now, I didn't realize at the time, like, it just was heavy, but looking back now, like, I can almost feel the feeling when we were in that apartment. Like, it was just very
Yes.
heavy and dark. Like you said, a lot of negative energy, and I think, that was dad bringing that in because he was, first I know, on coke, Lord
Yeah.
knows what else, drinking heavily too at that also. There were a lot of times he was coming home drunk, puking. It was bad deal, but yeah, he left early and went to Arkansas, and we were there at the apartment for a bit, and then we flew to Virginia to go see our grandparents before we went back to Arkansas.
Oh, okay, I remember that trip.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember that trip. Wild,
Mhm.
wild. So, I mean,
Crazy.
you can see just based on some of the stories that we've shared, like how we would become hyper responsible. I mean, there's that instance where he's hardly home. He's hardly home just on the regular. There's the time when he went to rehab for what, 90 days?
I think so.
That was
60 or
after,
90 days, I don't remember.
yeah, that was after we came back from Texas, not right after.
Mhm. Like a year or so because he got was it court ordered? Because he got, like, 2 or 3 DWIs.
I'm pretty certain it was court ordered. With him being in the depths that he was, I don't think he just woke up and was like, "Hey,
Yeah,
I need to go do this."
yeah. We'll have to one of these days, we'll have him on to share some he's got the stories. That'll be like a three-part episode that we'll have to do because that man has he has a word quota. Like,
Yes.
everybody I'm pretty I don't know, it depends on the situation. I can be introverted or extroverted, but that man is so extroverted, he would literally talk to the wall
Yeah.
and just he just wants to talk to everybody, and I love that for him,
Yes.
but yeah. Anyways, so
So, all that to say, we became emotional adults. We became way grown, way too grown for our ages. I mean, looking back now, like, I had a childhood, but I also feel like I didn't have a childhood, you know what I mean? We've said before, it wasn't the worst. Like,
yeah,
obviously, there are people that have gone through much worse than we have, but I still feel like our story is valid and can help someone realize that you don't have to be a product of your circumstance. But I mean, even looking back, I remember people saying, like, "Oh my gosh, you're so mature for your age." Yeah, I have no choice.
yeah,
But I remember like it felt like a compliment. And I look back now, like, yeah,
red
I think they
flag.
were, I mean, yes, they were trying to like compliment, but at the same time, like, yeah, I mean, we were just way grown for our ages.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely heard that a lot. "You're so mature for your age. You're so responsible," and, you know, I guess I wasn't as aware. I'm just kinda like, I mean, doesn't everybody have to be like I just felt like I was just, like, my
True.
normal age, like
Yeah.
or
I mean, I agree. I agree. That's what I thought too. Like, okay.
yeah,
Who do you know that's not?
yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I can definitely now looking back, definitely was missed. I don't wanna say, like you said, missed a lot of my childhood because we had a lot of great times, and I like, it was 100% because of all the other adults who were kinda sprinkled in throughout our lives,
Yeah.
who stepped in and were amazing influences, um,
Mimi.
that we did have those little yeah, little pieces of childhood that we could just kinda, soak in
Yeah.
as we've grown into adults, these, like, roles that we had to play growing up, like I said at the beginning, definitely kinda have shaped our personalities for sure, and, like, how we identify today and how we've played out different areas of our life, career, relationships, parenting, all of that, and it's a lot.
Yes. And I notice, I think you and I are the same in this. Because we had to be, like, so mature and responsible, I find it really hard for me to be sympathetic with other individuals who are always like, "Woe is me. I'm the victim. Oh my god, like, I can't do this." Because 'Cause I'm like, "Bro, pull up your bootstraps. You'll be fine." Like,
Yeah,
I just I have such a hard time, which, I mean, is good and bad, I think. I think both of those can be true. That is good and bad because, I mean, I don't allow myself to, like, wallow in pity and just let myself go essentially, which is good because I keep trucking along, but at the same time, I do find it hard for me to be
sympathetic.
sympathetic with others, especially when, and I shouldn't judge. And I really am trying hard not to judge others, but sometimes I'm like, really? That's your problem? Like, because I think of all the shit that we went through as kids, and I'm like, okay, you'll be
Yeah, like, especially when it's something just kinda, like
trivial.
yeah, trivial or, like, I don't know. I just keep thinking, like, Lane the other day complaining about having to pay this bill, and I was just like, "And?" Like, just
Oh,
things that it's just like, that's just that's just part of being an adult, like, that's just it.
right.
Yeah, I definitely have a hard time sympathizing when it's just something very trivial. But then yeah, I was
I
just
guess for
thinking
me, like a contrasting story, I guess I could share. Hunter, my son, works because he has, insurance and things and he wants to buy things. So he, just turned 18. I think he started working at 16 though. Anyway, so it's interesting because I'll think about where he's at in his life and where I was at in my life at that same age. And so he was talking about having to go to work one day for like a 5-hour block. And it was just like, this was, probably a year or so ago, but he was like, oh my God, like 5 hours at one time, or maybe it was like 6 hours. He's just like, oh my God, like that's so, like that's a long time. And I think back to me, I'm like, "Bro, I literally worked a full-time job and went to high school." I don't know how I did, but I did because I
Yeah.
had no other choice. And I mean,
Yeah.
not that I got frustrated with him or anything. I it's easier for me to be sympathetic with him, but at the same time, I was like, "Okay, you'll be fine.
Yeah. You'll live.
You're not gonna die." But, I mean, do you ever have those moments where you just, like, think back about where your kids are and how their life is compared to our lives at that same age? I mean, it's so different. It's so
Mhm.
different, which we designed on purpose, but it's just funny to hear, like, the complaints sometimes, and I'm like, "Bro, you have no idea."
Yeah. I think I've said this before, like, the kids complaining about stuff and, like, getting frustrated because it's just like, you wanna be like, "You have no fucking idea how good you have it." But like I said, we don't want them to even know
Right.
that comparison. Like, we've worked so hard to break out of that. But yeah, when you are like a parent trying to break those generational, I don't wanna say curses, but
Like,
habits,
cycles?
cycles, there we go, that's the perfect word for it. Generational cycles. And you've seen both sides, it's really hard sometimes when you're frustrated to, like, not be like, "What the
Right.
fuck? You have no idea." I always think back to, like, the boomers who are like, "I had to walk uphill both ways to school in the snow barefoot." Like,
Right.
it's like, okay. But yeah, definitely, I know a lot of parents can probably identify with that even if you've never had any kinda, like, crazy childhood. Kids today, I think every generation, we think has it better than
Right.
ours or before. So, yeah, definitely think every parent can identify with that, so
Yes. And, this just when you were talking about it being a generational, like, cycle, it just occurred to me, like, it truly is, because if you think about it, and we haven't talked about this, it wasn't just our dad that's an alcoholic. It's 2 of his brothers. One
Mhm.
has passed, may he rest in peace. I mean, severe alcoholics.
Yeah,
And
very sad.
I mean, we'd probably have to dive into, like, family history a little bit more with other members of our family to find out, like, how deep the alcoholism went, but, I mean, the cards were not in our favor, and we
Mm,
decided to change it.
yeah. I know on dad's side, his 2 generations above him had alcoholics. I'm not gonna name names because they have not authorized,
True.
where dad is good with it. Um, but yeah, definitely that runs in our family. Hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
Hmm,
But at least we have each other.
yes.
All of this has definitely that's why
And
we
it's
have the
so crazy
podcast.
how we're both so emotionally intelligent and working on this and, like, doing this podcast together, and, like, that never happens, like, you were just bringing up the other siblings of dads who are alcoholics. And, generally you see, at least one of the siblings is really fucked up, and
Right?
we both came out okay.
I think that, I think we were meant to do this,
Yeah, I
meant to
think
share
so
our
too.
story. I mean, when we started this, we said, if we just even help one person recognize that they have the choice. They have
Mhm.
the choice to have a different life. You don't have to be a product of your circumstance.
Yeah. It's definitely healthy to reflect on that and recognize, like, whatever your situation was fucked up, but don't have to identify with that, don't have to, like, continue.
Yeah.
You can be the one that puts a stop to it and make, if you have your own children, make their lives better. Make your own just do it for your own life, you know?
Right. I mean, we've absolutely, I think, made a huge impact on our family line because if you
Mhm,
think about it, I mean, we grew up seeing alcohol every day of our lives. It was completely normal for somebody in our life to be wasted
mhm.
versus now, I may have 2 glasses of wine a year. And if my kid sees me with a drink, he's like just blown away.
Yeah,
It's so bizarre to him. He's like, "You, like, never ever drink." That's a it's a huge change from what we saw as kids. And, like,
yeah.
the drugs, like, I could not imagine, like, if I told my kid one day, "I'm just gonna go do some crack," like,
Yeah.
I mean, it just but for us, it was so normal. We've said several times, it was just another Tuesday for us,
Mhm.
and we flipped the script 1,000%.
Yeah. We did amazing. We played the roles that we had to play to survive,
Mhm.
but now we're using that insight
Yes.
to make your lives better and hopefully make you more aware. Just, we're always improving. That's what we're here for.
Mm,
Everybody on this earth, improving, trying to be a better human. It's all I mean,
right.
just trying.
Yes. Well, I suppose we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us today on Emotionally Evicted. If this helped you or you think it could help somebody else, please share it with them. Let them hear our story. You never know, right?
Yeah. You never know what everybody's going through. I've heard that so many times. Like,
Right.
I had a friend just this week that said, I've known you for years and did not know half the things that you went through growing up. And I mean, we just have done very well for ourselves, I guess, in masking all of that. But now we're sharing it. So, yeah, share it with friends
Come
and
be,
family.
be traumatized with us.
Yes. Come join us.
We'll get jackets.
Yeah.
Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you on our next episode.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
You've been listening to Emotionally Evicted. Thank you for being here. For more resources, stories, and ways to reclaim your life, head over to shereclaims.com and check out other episodes on emotionallyevicted.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.